Hello. Oh, that just started on my dog. Um, hey friends. Oh, Bina. Oh, okay. Live streaming. It's been a little while. It's an exciting night here in Los Angeles. I'm doing a little coconut oil hair treatment. And have been binge watching Killing Eve. Is anyone watching that show? It's amazing. But yeah, it's been a little while since I've done a live stream, and I just thought, you know what? Why not? It's about time. Um, so I don't know if you, those of you, yay, who are watching right now saw the video that Yuri and I posted yesterday or the day before. But basically, Yuri had a baby. Woo! Congrats, Yuri and his family. So we're on a little bit of a pause while he takes paternity leave. And then we've got some potentially exciting things coming down the pike. So just stick with us. I wish I could give more details, but it's in a stage right now where we can't give really any details. But I promise you, we're working. But in the meantime, we are going to be updating more. I'm going to be doing live streams more often, and yeah. So we're here. We're with ya. We're grateful for all of this support, and we're just excited about making this show happen. Yeah. So that's what I got. Aw, thanks, Sophie. Love you too, and sleep well. Sweet dreams. So yeah, wow, my face looks really greasy. It's because I put coconut oil on it. I'm a little under the weather today, so I've been just kind of laying around. Aw, we are too. We're very excited. What am I doing here? There we go. Oh, thank you. Aw. Well, I'm sorry that you've been having a tough week, Karina. I know what that's like, and, it's Thursday, right? Oh, my brain is scrambled eggs. Week's almost over, and hopefully the weekend will provide you with a little better, a little. I gotta engage my brain. I am not speaking well right now. The hardest part of my recovery, I think it was the period of time between like knowing I needed to go to treatment and like actually knowing. So like my brain knew for a while, but like my whole self and commitment lagged behind a little bit. And negotiating that sort of space in my brain was really challenging. It's like hard and scary to let go and to admit that you need help, and that the way that you're living isn't working and isn't fun, and that you're in pain, and so that stage was really hard. It was also really hard for me when I was in treatment. I guess like the first month of following the meal plan was really scary, because I had to just, like at this point, like I didn't really know how to eat anymore. I didn't know what a portion size was. My hunger sensors were all screwed up, so I basically just had to make a decision to trust that my nutritionist and my team knew better than I did, and to just do every single thing they told me to do. And it was hard. It was a lot of like learning to cope with anxiety and, talking myself down from, really intense eating disordered thoughts, and learning that feeling bad or feeling full wouldn't kill me. Um, but, after a couple weeks, about a month of really solidly following the meal plan, you know, getting those nutrients, like my brain was firing better. I learned to really trust my team. And my dog is barking. Bina, don't bark, please. And it got easier. It got a lot easier. Let's see. Look how I have recovery record. Yeah, it's tough. Hey, I wonder, can you delete that fasting app? Is that something you could do tonight? Delete that app. I know it's hard to let go, but that could be a step. Just deleting. You don't have to do anything other than delete that app. But yeah, that lag, it's really hard. It's really challenging. It's Bina, hey, Bubba, Beans, no, sit. She's being really barky. Bina. Beans, come here. Come here. Sorry. Yeah, that's sort of the, that idea of that feeling of control, right? It feels really real, but it's actually really false. And at least in my experience, anorexia and restricting, what it did for me was make my world really, really small, and it was so much easier for me to focus on what I was putting in and out of my body than it was for me to live my life. And I felt like I was in control. Yay for deleting the app. Woo! Everyone, if you have a diet app on your phone, you got to delete it now. That's the deal. That's the deal. Oh God, what was I saying? Angela, I'm telling you, I've been in this TV show today. I've just been, my brain is in Moscow with the lady assassin. What was I saying? Oh, that feeling of control. But it's a lie. It's a total lie, because what anorexia actually does is it strips you of any joy and happiness that you can experience in life, and it's a liar, and it's just a liar. It's a total liar. I wish I was finding more eloquent words tonight. I'm not doing great at this. I'm trying to think what it was for me that really... How do you learn to love yourself? It's a really good question. I mean, for me, I couldn't even start to do any of the real emotional healing until I was eating the nutrients that I needed to be eating every single day. Because when you're starving, and you can be starving at any shape, at any weight, you can be starving with anorexia, and you can be starving with binge eating disorder, because it doesn't matter like how much, I mean, it does matter how much, but like if you're not getting the nutrients you need, if you're not keeping the food down, your brain isn't functioning correctly. So attempting to really do that deep self-work is really hard when your brain isn't firing correctly. And in order to heal and to reinvest in the relationship with yourself, you need to give yourself a full brain. Like, you are worth... I was talking to a friend of mine once, and I was like, okay, so I have really bad vision, but it was like, if it would be like me trying to, read something across the room without my glasses on. Like, I could struggle, I could kind of try and do it, I could maybe make out a couple of shapes, but until I put my glasses on, I'm not really going to get anywhere with it. If you're not feeding your body, if you're not giving your body the nutrients it needs, it's like walking around the world without your glasses on. And you just deserve all of the tools that you can use to heal. And once your body and your brain is getting the nutrients it needs, the self-love piece, it's hard. It's really, really hard. Almost as hard as it is to get my dog to stop barking right now. Bina, this is not really a good time to be barking. Bina. Come here. Hey. Okay, I'm gonna try and put her up on the couch with me. Things that helped me learn how to love myself. Affirmations. Surrounding myself with people who loved me for the right reasons. Okay, hang on. Things are gonna get a little bit crazy for a second because I'm gonna pick my dog up. Okay, bear with me. Bina. Ugh, hang on one second, guys, 1 second. Okay, we're back. Let's see if she's gonna be nice. Bina, no, hey. Oh, no, there she goes. She's off to terrorize us some more. Okay, let me see, did I miss something? Fuck, that's the truth. Do you ever find yourself relapsing back into your eating disorder ways from time to time? Because every time I think I'm out, it pulls me back in. You know, so I'm like, let's see, I'm about 5 years into recovery now. And when I first, definitely when I was first in treatment, I had a lot of slip-ups. It was a rocky road. And when I was discharged, I would have slip-ups from time to time, but what changed was the way that I framed those slip-ups, whereas like early on in my eating disorder, one slip-up would like fuck up my entire week, my entire month, and I wasn't actually trying to recover, right? But the farther I get into my recovery, the more I'm able to meet myself where I'm at, love myself where I'm at, and not allow a slip up to change the way I feel about myself or my recovery. Now 5 years in, and also like a slip up means something very different to me now than it did when I was discharged. When I discharged, a slip up would be, symptom use. But now it's more like when I find myself comparing my shape to another person's shape, or when I find myself going into habits like body checking, I have to really be like, wait a second, this isn't healthy. Like, this isn't actually going to help me. And for me, I use it sort of as a guidepost when I start to have those eating disorder thoughts again, when I start to do sort of any sort of body checking or body shaming thinking in my head. It's a sign to myself that something in my life is out of balance. It's a sign that I'm probably stressed. Maybe I'm not sleeping enough. Maybe I'm anxious about a creative project, or my dog won't stop barking. So it's like usually a sign that something in my life needs to be addressed. And my go-to way of dealing with that was, of course, the eating disorder. And that thing kind of comes back as like, that's the easiest way to deal with the life stressor, but it's not actually going to address the problem. So when those thoughts pop up for me now, I try and use them as information and actually think of them as kind of blessings, because they tell me what's going on with me that I might not be picking up on. Bina, hey, we'll go on another walk in a little bit. She's very bossy today. She's cute, but she is naughty. Would you consider yourself recovered or in recovery? That's such an interesting question, and it's funny. I've been doing a lot of work with Project Heal this year, and I didn't know that recovered was an actual term that people in the eating disorder community were using until this year. I just assumed it was sort of like alcoholism or drug addiction, where you're always in recovery. But Carolyn Costin and a lot of other major players in the recovery, the eating disorder recovery space, now very much state that recovered is a state that you can actually get to. Um, I mean, I don't know if I'm ready to say I'm fully recovered. Maybe. I think I'm pretty damn close. I feel very strong and very secure in my recovery. Um, but I'm still new to the idea of this word recovered. Um, and I'm trying it, I'm wiggling around it, and I'm trying it out. I was talking to my therapist the other day because, a couple weeks ago, I wasn't feeling good in my body. I wasn't sleeping enough. I mean, it was like I said a second ago, a sign that something else is out of whack. I wasn't getting enough sleep, and I was like kind of stuck on a creative project. And so, of course, I started to feel uncomfortable in my body. And she reminded me that just because that I've done a lot of amazing hard work in my recovery, and just because I have a thought that's negative about my body doesn't mean I'm back in my eating disorder. We live in a cruel sexist society, and we are constantly inundated with images of women that are demeaning and over-sexualized and airbrushed and manipulated and unhealthy. And we're not blind to it. We're not, just because we're in recovery and working on ourselves doesn't mean we're immune to the world, and doesn't mean we're not allowed to feel hurt when images of ourselves and the images we see of women don't look like us. Like, that's damaging. And it's okay to be like, you know what, this sucks. And like, that image does something to me and makes me feel something. So it's tough. Like, it's tough to live in this world as a woman, and it's tough to live in this world as a man. I can't speak to it as a man, but I've spoken to some of my male friends that have struggled with eating disorders, and I know it's very difficult for men as well. I can just speak to my own experience. Okay, I think I missed a couple of questions. Is it true that it actually takes 8 years to recover from an eating disorder? I don't know. I'm not a professional. But I mean, I would just say no, because I've only been in recovery for 5 years, and I've felt really solid in my recovery. Probably like, I was discharged after about 3 or 4, and I was solid then, but I wasn't intuitive eating yet. I felt like my recovery hit a new stage when I started intuitively eating. And I started intuitively eating probably about like 8 months into my recovery. And like, it's only gotten better from there, but we can change our brains so quickly. So 8 years, to me, that feels a little bit fatalistic. Like, if you can access resources and the help and the support that you need, I think that recovery can actually move kind of like wildly quickly. That's just my experience. Let's see. Did you have a moment where everything fell into place regarding recovery, or was it a slow buildup? I think it was a little bit of both. In treatment, I kind of lost track of time, because like your days are kind of the same, and I sort of was in a little bit of a cocoon. And for a while, like, the days felt really long and the work felt really hard, um, and I could feel the marathon. But then I do remember one day, this is probably like 6 months later, I was like, what did I have for breakfast? And I couldn't remember. I like couldn't remember, and I did not care. And for me, that was like kind of a moment of being like, holy shit, my brain got fixed. Like it worked. All of this worked. It changed. So it was kind of a little bit of both for me. With BED, it's tricky because I feel like even if the binging stops, we are left with terrible relationships with food forever. It sounds really tough. So I struggled with anorexia and bulimia. Um, but you know, Mad Doll, it's a cute name. I I feel it's possible for us to heal our relationships with food. I really do. Um, and it's possible for you. You might not be there yet, and that's totally okay. But I 100% believe that it is possible for you to live a life in which food does not cause guilt, shame, fear, embarrassment, or any of those terrible feelings that it can sometimes cause. Now, it's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be a breeze. I still overeat sometimes. I'm a human. Um, but through years of work and therapy, I've learned how to sort of slow my shame spiral and my anxiety, you know, tornadoes, and to remember that what I put in my body is not who I am. Um, let's see. 11 months ago, I had my daughter. Congratulations! After 6 years of recovery, I can't even look at myself in the mirror. Can't. Nia, I wish for you to find some support right now. It sounds like things are really, really difficult, really immediate, really raw for you right now. And you deserve support from a professional who can support you. I've been in low places like that before, and it's isolating and it's scary and it feels hopeless. And I totally understand what it feels like to hate what you see in the mirror and to feel like nothing's ever going to change. Um, all I can speak from is my life experience, and my life experience has taught me that pain is not permanent, and that with support and determination, you will be able to heal and find peace and find joy in your life again, and really be able to love that sweet little baby girl that you just gave birth to. Um, so I hope you'll reach out to someone today or tomorrow, um, and really you deserve support, and you deserve care, and you deserve love. Um, have I struggled with self-harm? It feels like I can't stop cutting, and every time I stop, something triggers me again. Chai tea. That's also a cute name. Um, I have a little bit for a brief amount of time, although I would argue that bulimia is very much self-harm. Um, Again, I would absolutely say that you deserve support, and you deserve the attention and support of a therapist who can help you practice techniques to manage those triggers. Because I know what it feels like to be triggered, and it is so hard. And I know what it feels like to be like, I've got a release valve. I've got my button. I know what will make this feel better. And it's really hard to start training ourselves to not press that button and to sit just a little bit longer in the discomfort. One thing that I'm a big fan of is dialectical behavioral treatment therapy, and it's basically I'm not an expert. I'm not a psychologist. I'm nothing like that. But it's this idea that like two things can be true, right? So it can be true that for example, it can be true that I hate my shape, I hate how I feel in my body, and I'm going to eat dinner. Like, that can both be true. I can both hate my body and honor it with the nutrients it deserves. I can both feel like, my body's about to burst after eating or binging, and know that I consumed more than my body necessarily need to. And I can choose to not purge. I can do both of those things at once. There's space enough to hold both truths at once, and learning to really sit in that discomfort becomes really empowering, and you're capable of getting through so much more than you realize. But something like cutting, and eating disorders have the highest mortality rate of all mental illnesses. It it is serious, and things can go wrong really quickly. And I encourage all of you watching right now, if you don't have a counselor or a therapist or a psychiatrist or a nutritionist, to seek one out today, because it can change your life. It really can. Um, let's see. Just looking for advice on self-image. Um, on self-image, so I like to think of when I start to struggle with self-image, because I definitely do. I definitely do, because like I said, I'm a woman in the world, so it's going to come up. I like to remind myself that accepting my body as it is today is an act of like radical feminism, and that when I choose to not punish myself for existing, I'm doing a rebellious act. I'm actively throwing over the patriarchy. I am actively like saying fuck you to my eating disorder every time I choose to tell myself that myself with my, blah blah in my hair, I'm sitting in my sweatshirt, I don't really feel very well today. Um, you know, Whatever, regardless of what I've eaten today, that I am exactly this, I take up exactly as much space as I need to, and that is fine. Um, you know, these things might seem a little cheesy, but I do know that they help. Things like affirmations, like putting a quote on your mirror, like "I am beautiful," or talking to yourself the way you would talk to your daughter. Would you tell your daughter the things that you tell yourself about yourself? My guess is probably not. So starting to talk to yourself like you're your daughter, or we all like have these beautiful inner children inside ourselves. I would I would never say the things to 6-year-old Angela that I said to 22-year-old Angela. But 6-year-old Angela is still in there, and every time I'm mean to 31-year-old Angela now, 6-year-old Angela inside of her gets hurt, and I don't want to hurt that little girl. So think about that child that's inside of you that needs healing and needs to be held and loved and cared for and appreciated. They're in there. Let's see. Um, did I ever use sites like MPA? I know what MPA is because they found Binge, and that community was really supportive of the show, which was excellent. I didn't. I'm a little bit older than some of you might be, so that part of the internet. I mean, I guess it probably was going on when I was. I'm sure things like that were out there, but no, I never really did. And I know those communities can be both incredibly supportive and incredibly triggering. So I would just sort of keep your eyes open for things that might not be like fully pro recovery. Really search out those pro recovery sites. It's not that you can't find great recovery resources on forums like that, but just it can get dicey, as I'm sure you all know. It's like I have to shut down conversations because I live in LA. Everyone here is always talking about a cleanse or gluten free or blah 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 blah. Great. Like I always tell people, you do you, but like I can't participate in that conversation. I'm not interested in that conversation. So it's like the same thing. Like I wouldn't go to a website online that was like serving up some diet tips. I'm not in a place where I would act on that anymore, but it still reminds me of a bad time, and I don't like to see it, and it feels toxic to me, and it feels icky. So, any place on the internet's a wonderful and a dangerous place. So I would just say like always be on guard. Um, that's what I would say. Let's see. Ba, 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 ba. How do you get over the not feeling sick enough for help and not fitting into a specific label. I mean, Jamie, like that is maybe the question I get most often. And honestly, I don't know if I've ever gotten over it. There are still days where I am working on Binge with Yuri and I think to myself, really? Was I really sick? Am I just being dramatic? And am I making all this up? You know, that's part of how devious this illness is that it lies to you and it tells you that, you know what? Eating disorders are gaslighters. We are all being gaslit to shit by these eating disorders. They lie to us, they manipulate us, and society, culture, and like, I gotta be honest, a lot of the healthcare industry has fed into it by creating these categories, and it's changing, and it's changing. And organizations like Project Heal, and there are some awesome therapists out there who are really fighting to make sure we look at this illness in a new way. But you know, insurance companies fitting into boxes and numbers and all of that bullshit, like it all feeds into the illness. And so this feeling of not being sick enough, it's a real feeling. It's a lie. You are sick enough. Everyone is deserving of support and help. But it's a lie, but it feels real. And I understand that. You just have to be a badass and put on your battle gear and fight the shit out of that feeling. Because it might not go away. It might not go away, but you know what? Feelings are not you. You are not your feelings. You can acknowledge, I have this feeling in me. I am not this feeling. Today, I have like a kind of like a stomach bug, if I'm being honest. That might be TMI. I have like a little bit of a stomach bug today. I am not a stomach bug. I have a stomach bug inside of me. I am not a stomach bug. Some days, you know, I have this feeling of not being sick enough inside me. I am not defined by this feeling. I have sadness inside me. I am not sad. You know, like we are not defined by these things we feel. Feelings change, they move, they can't actually stick with us that long. So I challenge you to fight that feeling and to tell it to like go to hell. Okay, let me see. Ba, 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 ba. How do you begin to explain to someone your eating disorder when you don't fall into a specific category? Right. I mean, books are really helpful. I would say like whatever you can do to take the pressure off yourself. Like you don't need to be an educator, right? Like send them to we have those Binge interview series. Like have your loved one watch I think we did 7 of them, I can't remember. Have them watch all of them. Send them books, resources. Take the pressure off yourself. And, you know, hopefully your loved one will pick up the ball and work to educate themselves. But like your priority first and foremost needs to be to take care of yourself, not to educate those around you. But providing with them resources so that they can educate themselves, I am all about that. Let me see. Hayden also doesn't feel sick enough. Raise your hand if you haven't felt sick enough. Me! Was I? Yes. DBT is my favorite. Yes. What are your hobbies? I'm having trouble getting back into normal things because I'm obsessed with my ED. Any ideas of having fun, distracting things to do to be appreciated? Yes. Oh, shoot, what happened? Okay. So this is potentially triggering. And I don't recommend doing it unless you have clearance from your team, if you're a treatment team. But I really love taking dance classes because it's not shape-based, it's not result-based exercise. It's just like fun and silly. I take really like fun, like I took a Bollywood class. Sometimes I do like a restorative yoga, which is just like guided napping, which is the greatest thing ever. Sometimes I'll take like a hip hop class. I'm really terrible at dancing, but it's really fun. And I'll go with my friends too, so we can all like do it together. But I only recommend that if compulsive exercise isn't a problem for you. If compulsive exercise is a problem for you, no, don't do it. Other things, there are those like, I really love going to like paint-a-pot places. Like, I know it might be kind of silly, but you can get a piece of like blank pottery and like paint it with your friends. That's really fun. They also have these things, if alcohol isn't a problem for you, or you can go and just not participate in alcohol. Also, you have to be 21. They have like paint and sips where they take you through like learning how to paint a portrait. You could bring tea, paint and sip tea. That's what we'll call it. Things like I mean, this might not sound super fun, but like it's helpful. Like I still go to like meetings. Like sometimes I'll go to an Al-Anon meeting, or support. I help lead a eating disorder support group. I like to do things like that connect me with the community that's sort of aligned with the things I'm trying to practice and foster into my life. I love movies. I love TV. I love TV. I love to have a pizza with a friend and like binge watch a TV show while coloring. I love to color. That's like one of my favorite evening activities. So those are some of the fun things that I like to do. Let's see here. What kept you going when you felt like things weren't going to get better? I think it gets so difficult to find those things. Yeah, when you're in the really low time. You know what? I think it was just grit. I was just so fed up, pun intended, with living the way that I was living, that I was like, I gotta change. I cannot do this anymore. I was so frustrated and angry that I just gave over. I just let other people control my life for a little while, and it helped immensely. I think like keeping a list of reasons in your view, like what, like pros to recovery, like I want to cut, like what are your reasons for living, right? Like some of mine. I love art. I love to create. I love to write. I love to act. I love my freaking dog, even she stopped barking. So let's not wake the beast. But I love my dog even though she's a brat. My relationships, my friendships, my family. Keeping a list in view of why this life is worth living. Those are things that can get you through. Those were things that got me through. A favorite song, a color. I love a soft, like peachy pink. I don't know, I just love it. I love new car smell. I would put that on my list of reasons to live. I love it. I don't know, it does something for my brain. I absolutely love it. I would do LaCroix. I love a LaCroix. Delicious, yummy beverage. The little things that fill life out and make it worthwhile, those are the things that you can't enjoy when you're ill. You just can't. Okay, let's see here. Aw. Thanks, Nia. Sending you love. You got this. All of you got this. Of course I remember you. Let's see. Don't get gaslit to shit. Yes, I do like that. Why, thank you. I'll contribute that realization to all of you, though. Yeah, that's the first time I realized, like, eating disorders are gaslighters. Oh, man. Was your family really understanding and open to finding you help when you told them about your eating disorder? Karina, I am really lucky in that, yes, my mama is a nurse, and she was incredibly helpful. I wasn't, for a long time, I wasn't willing to admit that I had an eating disorder. I told her I had anxiety, and she helped me find a therapist. But the biggest thing that my mom did to help me was go to therapy for herself. And I say that because it's really hard to be a family member of someone who is suffering. And it's really hard because other than support and provide resources and love unconditionally, someone can't make you get better, right? So like my mom going to therapy and making sure she was loving herself and caring for herself helped me care for myself. And it set a really good example. Yeah, and when I came to her saying I wanted treatment twice, because I went to treatment twice, she, you know, she was worried and she was scared, and I'm sure she would have a lot of insight on how difficult it was for her. But she only showed me support and kindness, and I'm incredibly lucky, and I know that that's not the case for most people. Um, and I would say that if you're in a situation where your family isn't able to provide that kind of support, to find a community that will support you, because it's important to be seen and to be loved and to have some accountability during this time. Bina, don't you start. She is a sass machine. Hey, Bubba. If you could, let me see. I'll try and turn the camera around for a second. It's kind of dark. Bina. Bina. Why are you being a bad girl? Why are you being a bad girl, huh? What do you have to say about eating disorders? So, Bina once ate herself almost into a coma. She got into a bag of food, and by got into it, I think she literally got into a bag of food. I came home. Her belly was so distended, I thought that she had, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a really dangerous condition that dogs that are usually bigger than her get, where you have to take them to the vet right away because they can die. So I brought her in, and they were like, well, it's not that. They did an x-ray, and she ate so much. Her belly was like this close to her freaking spine. She was a little monster. And then I got home, and lo and behold, the dog food bag was full of little tiny black hairs, and she just threw herself a party. Anyway, I digress. Okay, let me see. Let me see. Do you think you could have gotten where you were without PHP? Yes. Or do I think I could have gotten where I was without PHP? No. I needed it. I really needed it. I needed to be supervised. I needed to be bossed around. I needed someone to make sure I was eating what I needed to eat when I needed to eat it, and I wasn't purging it after. I just needed it. I needed to be babysat. And I was lucky enough to be able to get that kind of treatment with insurance. And I know that's not always possible for everyone, but if it is for you, and if you feel like that might help you, I encourage you to do it. It's just so helpful. I mean, it saved my life. It really, really did. Let me see. Yes, we are a squad now. Awesome. Bina. Oh, Emily Wood, I am so sorry. That is so horribly tragic, and I just, my heart goes out to you. That is a level of tragedy that I haven't experienced in my life, and I can't imagine what you and your friend and their family must be going through right now. I completely understand why the eating disorder might seem really comforting. Of course. I mean, that makes total sense to me. I would encourage you to seek out as much support as you can. Grief support groups, community groups. If you can find a therapist to help you work through some of these feelings. I don't know if you draw or color. For me, having some sort of artistic outlet really helps me process feelings. And I would also say to be gentle with yourself right now. And if you have a slip up, it doesn't mean you're not still in recovery. It happens. And, you know, you might have to take things, instead of taking them month by month or week by week or day by day, you might have to take things hour by hour right now. And just be extra gentle. Don't demand a lot of yourself right now. Get a lot of sleep. I would say fill your house with fresh flowers, and try and make the lighting nice. I know it sounds silly, but little things like that can actually do a lot for your I don't know, just for your sense of joy, you know, like you can get like a super cheap twinkle lights at like Target and just like have those on and, you know, do a 2 minute meditation a couple times a day. Hug a dog. Little things, just little things to ground yourself, and to find comfort during this time. I'm so, so sorry to hear that. Any tips for getting help if you don't have access to health insurance? Oof. I don't, but there are organizations that do. So we have a help list. We have a resource list. So if you go to, I wonder if I can type. Let me see. No, I can't type, I don't think. But if you go to bingetheseries.com, there's a resource list that our community has kind of sourced. And I think there are resources on there that should help you navigate insurance. I also would urge you to go to check out Project Heal. They offer treatment grants to people who can't afford treatment. I would look up sliding scale therapists. I know that in Los Angeles there's a sliding scale therapy center because about to be using that sliding scale business myself. That they offer therapy for as low as like $30 a session, which is a great deal. Use the power of that internet. I would also wonder. I don't know what country you're in. If you're in the US, oh God, I don't know. I wish I knew more about insurance. If anyone on this thread does, will you write a little message and like link to some resources? Because I know that's incredibly difficult to manage. But do some internet sleuthing on it. Let me see here. Aw, no apologies. Have I seen To the Bone? I did see To the Bone. I actually got to participate in a Netflix panel about it, which was really cool. I had a lot of thoughts about it. I cried almost the entire time. There were things I loved about it and things I didn't love about it. I first and foremost really love Marty Noxon, the writer. She's just someone I very much admire. She's been a writer in Hollywood and television for a really long time. She's seasoned. She's a hard worker. She's like one of those women who have been out here like kicking ass. And I just really admire what she did. Bina, we're going to go on a walk in a little bit. I really admire what she did. And, you know, she had her eating disorder in a time when there were no treatment centers ever. So she had this like very isolated experience with it. What I loved, I'll say what I loved about the film. What I loved about the film was the way that it captured family dynamics. That's what really got me. The scene, I loved the scene with the sister, and the feeling of how hard it is on the family, but I also really felt how much of a burden the lead character felt to her family, and I just thought the film really captured that sense of loneliness and isolation and pain, from really complicated pain from every single member of the family. Oh, hey, Yuri. And I loved that about it. What I didn't love about it, I do not think we need to see an emaciated body to understand that that body is in pain. And I would not have looked at the body in the way the film did. But you know, Marty had her reasons for doing that, and oh my God, my dog is being crazy with this bone. Here, I think she wants to play. Here you go, Bubba. Get your bone, please. Okay, hang on, you gotta see this, dog. Beans, you got your bone? Do you got your bone, honey? Do you got your bone, baby? I can't see you. She got her bone. Okay, anyway. That's my thoughts about To the Bone. Let's see. Any advice for someone dealing with BED? I'm scared of opening and someone thinking it's not a real eating disorder. Thomas, that's a great question. You know, binge eating disorder is I think it's the most common eating disorder, but I think you're feeling what you're feeling for a reason, right? And it's because our culture glamorizes and it is cruel and it is unacceptable, and it's an epidemic. I think what you're feeling is really legitimate. Eating disorder is a very serious eating disorder. You are sick enough and you deserve support. Every sized body version of eating disorder deserves support. I would say, like, if you can, start just by reaching out to a therapist or a support group in the area. Reach out to someone who feels safe and like they won't. My body, for most of my eating disorder, my body did not look sick. And I didn't seem sick. I was able to really hide it. And I'm rambling all of a sudden now. Dang it. I would say get support, counselor, therapist, nutritionist. And there are resources out there. Binge eating disorder, it's so common and it's really challenging, but it is possible to reshape your relationship with food and with eating and with your shape. It's possible. And I hope for you to have peace and relief and healing with it, because food can be a really wonderful thing. I thought I would fucking hate food forever. I really did. I used to wish that there was just a pill I could take in the morning so I would never, that would just like give me all my nutrients so I would never have to deal with eating. And now I would be pissed if I decided to do that, because eating has become a joyful experience for me again. I never thought that was possible. I thought maybe it would be possible to follow a meal plan. I white knuckled that. I was like, fine, I can do this. I can sit with this discomfort, but no way in hell I'm actually going to enjoy this. Now I do. I just ate a bowl of ice cream before I did this live stream and it was great. And I don't feel bad about it. I might have some more a little bit later, or I might not. I'm not really thinking about it. And that's the joy of recovery. Yuri into house. How do you feel about the pro-Anna, pro-ed community telling people how to starve themselves a safe way? I think that people who are doing that are in a lot of pain. And I don't think they're evil, and I don't think they mean harm. I think that people who are advising other people on how to starve are in a lot of pain and need help, and are sick. I would avoid any kind of website or community that engages in that kind of behavior. Diets don't work. They don't. Otherwise, the diet industry wouldn't be one of the biggest businesses in our country. Diets just don't work. And I would say always, always, always go to a nutritionist. That is who you want to be your ally. Let's see. Oh, Headspace, yeah. Get cut off. Am I back? I think I'm back. Eczema princess. You know what? Like, that could be your path to recovery. You know, everyone does it different. Like that, I can't count things. That counting calories, counting anything like that makes me very sick. I can't do it, and I don't recommend it. But there are many ways to the mountaintop of recovery. And if that's a method that you and your nutritionists are working with together, all right, you know? Am I back? I'm sorry, you guys, for my glitch. Am I back? Oh, Thomas, Thomas, I'm sorry. Now I forgot what I said. Bah! Am I back? Yuri, am I back? Are you on G-Chat? Let me see if I can G-Chat you. My dog might murder me if she doesn't get a walk soon, though. She's a killer. Yeah, I think I'm caught up on the questions. Woo, woo. Oh, what up? I didn't know if you wanted me to... Aww. Isla. Little Isla. Well, we're about 56 minutes in, so I should probably wrap up soon and walk this psychotic dog. But who watched the latest Handmaid's Tale episode? Am I right? No spoilers. Oh, you guys, parenting must be hard. I mean, parenting is hard. My dog has been crying this whole time. It's not the same. Aw. Well, I'm really glad. I'm really glad to be able to help in any way I can. I'm here for a little bit longer. Oh, thanks, Cherish. Yes, I am okay. I'm doing awesome. So you can find our resources on bingetheseries.com. It's somewhere on there. And then Project Heal. Yuri, can you type? And well, you might be holding a baby right now. If you're still on here, can you type that? He's like, no, I'm being screamed at. It's always about Isla. She's very cute though. So that's fine. It's always about Bina at my house. Oh, there she goes again, barking her little face off. All right, I am gonna start to try and do these once a week again. So I'm thinking Thursdays, if Thursdays work. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, Maria, that makes me so happy. What part of Binge was the hardest for you to remember and write? I feel like Yuri might be able to answer this better than I would. What was the hardest? That's a tough question. I have to think about it. Because we've written a lot more than you've seen. You know, the hardest to write was maybe... I don't know. I'm going to put a pin in that one and think about it. I'm sure there's an answer like staring me in the face and I can't remember what it is right now. But yeah. Yes, Karina, yes. Oh yeah. My eating disorder turned me into such a hermit because like I didn't have energy. I would go to my friends' houses and I would fall asleep because I didn't have enough nutrients. I mean, or I would get too stressed out and worried that I was going to binge and like, oh yeah, the eating disorder just takes your full life away from you. It's a mean thing. And I'm really sorry that you're in that place with it right now. My heart goes out to you. It's so hard, but know that you're not alone and that there is relief from this immense pressure and sadness that you're feeling right now. It does not last forever. The isolation, it doesn't. Okay, I gotta go because my dog is freaking out, but let's do one last look at her. Bina, excuse me. Do you want to answer? Do you want to answer for yourself on why you're such a naughty baby? Sit. It's really dark in my house. I apologize. Sit. Bubba, sit. Sit. There's a good girl. Are we going to go on a walk? Are we? Also want to see. Da-da. That's our tortoise. The tortoise, I just want to say, the tortoise The tortoise does not usually live inside. It just was cold today, so we brought him in. He usually lives outside in the nice heat in a big old pen, not in a little thing, but it was cold today, so we brought him in. Okay. See you next week. Bina, what do you have to say for yourself? Are you sorry for your barks? I can hardly see you. All right. Mwah, mwah, I love you all. Delete all your dieting apps and contact a therapist tonight. Yes. Mwah.